Hi guys, welcome back. Can anyone tell me which book of the Bible we've been learning about? Genesis, that's right. Genesis is a big book. It has lots of chapters in it. And it's such a good beginning to the Bible because it lays a great foundation for the rest of the book. Do you remember we learned about that last week? Why God chose Abram? Because he wanted to bless the whole world. That's right. Good memory, guys. Well, we're going to continue today to talk about Abram and something that happened to him and his wife, Sarah. Do you remember last week, God said, I'm going to bless the earth through your family. Your family is going to grow. But Abraham and Sarah couldn't have kids. I forgot to tell you how old Abraham was. Abraham was 100 years old. And guess how old his wife was? She was 90. That's like a grandma and a grandpa, or maybe even like a great grandpa or a great grandma. I wonder if you guys know how old your grandparents are. Can grandmas and grandpas have babies? No, they can't. So it was a pretty big stretch for Abraham and Sarah to believe that their family would grow because their bodies couldn't have babies anymore. Let's take a look in our Bibles and see what God says to them. Let's look in Genesis, we're still in the first book. And I want you guys to find the big number 18. I want you to find the little number 10. Now let me tell you a little bit about what's happening right now in this story. Abraham and Sarah have their camp set up because they live in tents. And 3 men show up. Do you know who those 3 men were? They were God. God came to talk to Abraham and he showed up as 3 men. Okay? So 3 men come and they're talking to Abraham and Sarah, and this is what they say. Verse 10, the little 10. Then the Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah your wife will have a son. Can you believe that? The grandma and grandpa are going to have a son? Let's see what Sarah was listening to Abraham talk to these men, and if we continue reading, we'll see what Sarah does. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself as she thought, after I am worn out and my master is old, will I now have this pleasure? It's a pretty big miracle for a grandma and a grandpa to have a baby. So let's put another rainbow sticker to remember this other promise that God made to Abraham and Sarah, that they're going to have a baby. So I want you guys to draw a rainbow or put a rainbow sticker in there to remember another promise. So what happens with this baby story? Well, Sarah had a hard time believing God, and so she kind of made her own plan to make this baby happen, and it didn't actually work out so good for them. But do you think that stopped God from doing his plan? Do you think our good choices or our bad choices stop God from keeping his promises? No, they don't. God kept his promise. And Sarah got pregnant and she had a baby. And they named him Isaac. So their family tree could continue. They had a baby. Isn't that awesome? So you can keep reading more about Sarah and Abraham and their son Isaac. But we're going to fast forward a little bit and find one more promise that God makes to Abraham. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 22. So flip over 2 more pages and find the big 22 in your Bible. We're going to find the little 17 and the little 18. And this is God talking again. I will surely bless you and make your descendants, that means his kids, as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. What? Have you guys ever been to a beach? Each tiny little kernel of sand. That's what God said. He said he's going to have as many descendants. His family's going to be that big, as many as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies. Another promise. And then a reminder of why he's making these promises. And through your offspring, remember this, all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. All the nations will be blessed. Remember, that's why God is doing this. The whole picture of the Bible, the whole story of the Bible, reminded again. So why don't you guys draw another rainbow there, or put another rainbow sticker in to remind us of this other promise. As you can see, God makes a lot of promises in this book. And God always keeps his promises. Always, always, always. So you can remember that. And if we continue to read, we're going to see how God fulfills those promises, how he keeps his promises. And this is what's cool about reading through the whole Bible. We hear God make a promise, and then we get to see it happen. So our faith can grow and it can build, so that when we hear a promise from God and when God tells us something, we can trust him and we can take what he says and know he keeps his promises. If he tells me something, I can trust that it will happen. Isn't that awesome? That's the story of Abraham and Sarah and their little baby Isaac. We're going to hear more about this family next week. See you guys later.